We generally handle 250 funerals a year. We've handled 90 within the last 30 days. We are getting 150 phone calls a day on average. We don't even have the time to speak to half these families. We are a small family-owned and operated funeral home. We're 5 staff members at most, and every aspect of our day-to-day has been upended. Some of the challenges we're dealing with here, struggles of trying to get products. Caskets are on back order for 4 or 5 days with every major casket company. We can't handle the funerals until we have the products to place them in. Cremations are backed up for, on average, a month. Most crematories can handle 20 cremations a day, and that is pushing it. It's pushing their personnel, it's pushing their equipment. But things are being done that have to be done. There are crematories running 24 hours a day. Many of the crematories outside of our local area have offered to handle some of the cremations. We have had dealings with Syracuse and Poughkeepsie. It is a matter of transporting the deceased to those locations, but in many cases, the families choose that is the better choice than waiting the time frame in which the local crematories can handle. Families, if they can attend burials, they're limited to a select amount of people. They are not allowed to exit their vehicles in many cases. We can't have any kind of religious services or their modified services. Today, we had a service in our parking lot. The amount of family members in attendance were more than what was suggested by the CDC for a gathering. So the priest was not comfortable coming into the funeral home to do the service. So we figured the best way would be outdoors in our parking lot before leaving to go to the cemetery.
I don't mean to be morbid, but there must be a lot of bodies that you have to handle and make arrangements for.
We have only so much space in our facilities to hold the people. So we have to arrange with the hospitals for storage of remains. Many of these hospitals, the larger facilities, have multiple freezer trucks. The most we've had in our facility over the last course of the month has been 28 bodies. We are, in many cases, on many days, using the same room 4 or 5 times a day to handle what you would not normally call awake, but what we're calling awake now, where the family will come in for an hour for an ID or for a short visitation, a short service. We'll go to the cemetery, we'll wheel another casket into that room, and the next family will come.
So it's almost like an assembly line of people who have died.
That would be a good description of a lot of the way we're handling our services right now. It's something that every funeral home is dealing with as best as possible, but there's not enough help. It's very difficult. I don't know if it's a general feeling or if it's more something that I'm going through, but I feel that grief is at a higher level now. It starts when the death occurs and they're not able to see their loved one. It continues when the hospital tells them that in 14 days, their loved one will go to a city cemetery. We hear it in their voice when we tell them that we're not able to handle their funeral and they don't know what to do. In the Bronx here, we are handling funerals from all over the metropolitan area because they cannot find funeral homes in their cities. If you're in Brooklyn, you have to call Queens, the Bronx, and Manhattan to see if you can find another funeral home. Many families that we've serviced have had multiple deaths. We have, over the course of the last month, had 4 families with multiple deaths. One had 4 in their own family. They were in their late 60s. With everything that the families are going through, they don't need any additional struggle. And when you can't find a funeral home to take care of your loved one, that takes away from your ability to grieve properly. The funeral business is very unique in we get to help people at the worst time in their life. This situation that we're going through now, the deaths that are occurring, the limits that we are up against right now is weighing on everyone in a way that is unimaginable, and what's happening now is going to have lasting effects.